Hey guys, it's Jessica and it is another dreary winter day in West Virginia. So I am hanging out around the apartment today and I thought that I would pull out some of my fabric and possibly work on some quilt squares. I saw an idea on Pinterest where there was a large quilt square with I think two smaller quilt squares. So I'm going to go try to find that on Pinterest and I'll let you know where to find it, and then I'm going to start going through some of my fabric that I have. Hey, so I was wrong. I found the pin on Pinterest and it's more of, I don't think you can see that on my phone, it's more of a square and then 4 small squares to make up the size of that square, and then a square and then 4 small squares again. So I really liked the way that it looks. She kind of mixed and matched her patterns. It looks like a teal and then a red and a navy blue. The person, let's see, this is Diary of a Quilter, Amy Smart. Let me look at the website when I click on it. Yeah, diaryofaquilter.com. And so I'm going to take a minute and look at how the sizes that she makes her quilt squares. But again, I don't think you can see on my phone, but it makes a really pretty quilt. So she says it's a fast 4 patch quilt tutorial. So I definitely encourage you to go there if you're interested. Diaryofaquilter.com. I would definitely say I'm not a quilter. I love all kinds of crafts. I do enjoy sewing. I have made quilts in the past. Usually they're probably only good enough for my own use because they're definitely not perfect. I would say that almost everything I make is perfectly imperfect. I'm not big on measuring, which is probably not a good thing in quilting, but I do enjoy it. I enjoy seeing the finished product, even if it's not perfect. And a lot of times I'll make things for friends. So I'm going to check out her website and then I will be back and I will start pulling out stuff out of my fabric stash. And you can see another view of my bedroom in all of its glory with my lovely fan in the background and our closet. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so I quickly read through the Diary of Quilter.com. I read through her tutorial on the quilt, and I already have some squares that are cut out. They're 6-inch squares. So what I think I'm going to do is cut 6-inch squares and then cut 4 3-inch squares to go next to it, and of course it'll be a little bit smaller with the seam allowance, but that's kind of what I'll do. I'll check out Pinterest and kind of get an idea of what I want to do. I know I saw some other pins of quilts that I like, so I may actually mix her idea for a quilt with another quilt. They had like some rectangle, I may even do that with this, kind of make rectangular pieces and then do that maybe below because I like the way that looks. And then I just have kind of odds and ends of fabric that I've collected over time with different projects and things. And so I'm just going to kind of use what I have. I have this little box that I've taken traveling with me. I've just got all kinds of scrap fabrics. This is all my felt left over for Christmas that I really didn't use. And then I've got a lot of like teal and pink because I like teal and pink. And my daughter wanted a quilt. She does not like girly colors like teal and pink. She likes brown and green. And so maybe I'll work on some stuff for her too. And let's see. This is the problem that I have. I want to do all kinds of things and I don't have the time to do all kinds of things. Let's see. We're just going to kind of dig through this and show you what I have. Got a lot of teal, some burgundy, just scraps. So that's what I want to do. I want to use my scraps and not necessarily go out and buy extra stuff, because I guess that's what old school quilting was supposed to be. Like, they took scraps of old shirts and things like that. So I just want to use up what I have. I don't want to necessarily go out and buy anything. Of course, I will have to go out and buy stuff for the back, but a lot of times I'll go to like the thrift store and I'll buy a full size or queen size sheet, and you know, as long as it's in good shape, and I can make that the back of the quilt. Also on her website, Diary of a Quilter, she showed where she used different kinds of fabric on the back, which is really neat looking. So I might try something like that too. So I'm gonna get started, and I will either video some of the quilt pieces that I've gotten, or I'll take pictures of them and put them on there. And I will add her website down at the bottom of the video, and stay tuned. Okay, so I decided instead of doing the 6-inch squares, I was going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-inch by 5-inch square. So I guess my small squares are probably going to be 2.5 by 2.5. I'll probably just cut some of these in half to make it easier. But I had more squares that were smaller, like the 5.5. This is the one I cut it down. So basically right now, I'm just using the squares that I've already cut and putting them on fabric and then just cutting them to the size. I'm sure that that's not the way that real quilters do it, but it's the way that I do it because it's easy. And I told you already that I'm not very good at measuring and all of that. I've just got this rotary mat. I've had this for years and years. It's really easy to use for measurements. And then I've got this clear ruler. It's got the little lip that you put on the edge like this, so it makes it really easy for cutting a straight edge, because then you stay on the line. And obviously, if you're already a quilter, you know this stuff, and this is a really dumbed down version for you. I just really keep things simple, and I'm lazy about a lot of stuff. But so this is how I'm doing my squares. This is what I've got so far, and I'm just going to keep cutting different kinds of fabric. I was just sitting here thinking that I can use these after they're pieced together. I can use them for the bottom of tea towels as well, because originally I had cut this anchor fabric for a tea towel, but now I'm thinking maybe I can do some quilt squares and put it on a tea towel, and that would be really cute. So I've got all kinds of fabric that's around this size, so I'm just going to keep cutting and then see how I can mix and match some colors together. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut the smaller squares. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 inches by 5 inches. So I'm going to cut the smaller squares 2.5 by 2.5. So basically what I'm doing is I'm taking the larger square and I'm cutting it in half. You can see the tick mark down there that's at the half mark. My lip edge doesn't want to stay. Of course, I am sitting on the floor, on my bedroom floor, so I'm just going to cut that, and then cut that, and so then the way that the quilt squares will go, they'll be, of course I'm not going to do 4 of the same, but you get the idea. Like, you'll have a large quilt square followed by 4 small quilt squares, and then another large one right here. And that'll be the pattern. And so I'm thinking on the next row, like I talked about earlier, this is too narrow, but making some rectangular pieces that would fill up. I'll have to think about that for a second and think of how I'm going to do that. So I have moved operations over here to my little portable table that I have. We bought this. It's just one of those little folding tables. We bought at Walmart at this assignment because I don't have anywhere to craft. And so I was just going to show you, this is what I've got so far. Probably been working for 20 or 30 minutes while watching YouTube videos. I like to watch movies and that kind of thing, listen to podcasts, watch YouTube while I'm crafting. So that's what I'm doing. Got a little pile so far. A little pile of small squares. And I'll work on the rectangles here soon. Again, I defer you to Pinterest probably for the measurements. And like, I don't know how much fabric I have here. You know, if you don't have an assortment of fabric and you want exact measurements of what you would need to complete a project, I definitely defer you to that website I gave you previously. So I decided to do something and make this a little bit easier on myself. This is actually a little cardboard square that came out of, what do you call it? A fat quarter. So this is the little cardboard square that was inside the fat quarter. So this is almost 5 by 5. This is like 5 by 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut it down to where it's 5 by 5 and I'm going to use it as a template. Instead of having to measure each piece on my board, this will just make it easier. And then I'm also going to do that for the smaller square as well. I'm just going to make a line here. See that little piece? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just over a tiny little piece. It is. It's like maybe a 1/4 inch. I wonder if they do that on purpose. So I'm just going to make a line there. And I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to take another cardboard piece out of here. I buy a lot of my fabric in fat quarters. It's probably not very cost effective, but with traveling and carrying it, I don't want to waste a lot of fabric or have to store a lot of fabric, so I buy it in fat quarters. So I'm going to measure 2.5. I need my lip edge here. I definitely, if you don't have it and you're wanting to craft, you're wanting to sew and that kind of thing, definitely recommend having one of these cutting mats and this clear ruler, because it makes your life so much easier. This is probably one of the first things I bought when I started sewing. And again, I'm not that great, but I do enjoy it, and it is one of the things that just, I don't know, it's one of the things that I enjoy doing. It's not stressful. I say it's not stressful until my sewing machine starts acting up, but it just calms me. I can sit in here and just craft and listen to my videos or watch my videos and craft, and I enjoy it. So now I've got kind of a template where I don't have to sit here and individually measure each of the squares. And you know, sometimes I will you can double up the fabric and cut a lot of squares at once, but a lot of my fabric I'm just kind of dealing with pieces, so this is going to make it more simple. I just wanted to show you how easy this makes it. Like, this was just a random piece I had in there. Just makes it really easy. This is really great too, just a rotary cutter. You have to be careful though. You could definitely cut your finger off with that thing, or cut the tip of your finger off with that thing, and that would be quite painful. Okay, so I've been sitting here for a little while now. I've got a nice little stack of 2.5 by 2.5 inch blocks, and then I've got a nice stack of 5 inch by 5 inch blocks. And then I kind of got really into those two groups and forgot about the rectangles that I was going to make, but I've got a little stack of rectangles that are 2.5 inch by 5 inch little stack. And then I actually have a little bit more fabric that I haven't cut. So if I find that I have way too many, I can just, or too many of one, because I didn't do like a ratio or anything, I'll wing it. That's what I do. And what I'm going to plan on doing is just kind of mix and match these any kind of way. I want it to look kind of random, so I'm going to not randomly put them, if that makes any sense. So I guess I will do another video when I've actually got some blocks together, but this is the beginning of it. This is how it starts. You guys have a great day. Bye.